Nessus Astrology, a complete guide to Nessus asteroid. Have you ever come across the word Nessus or Nessus Astrology? Or listened to someone who refers to a specie person as Nessus due to his abusive behavior? If yes, then you may wonder what Nessus and Nessus Astrology is and how it is related to someone's life. Basically, Nessus is a centaur who was poisoned and killed by the Greek hero Heracles. In Nessus Astrology, Nessus is a type of strange bird, present among the leading centaur asteroids. In ancient Greek, its name meant baby bird. It is highly elliptical and rotates between the planets Saturn and Pluto without getting too close to them. Nessus Cygni is the deepest shadow material that humans inherit as the pre-existing condition for birth. Nessus links itself to abuse, and if it is dominant in someone's chart, then it can be concluded that abuse is an essential part of their life. This abuse doesn't hold a single type, and the list is quite large. It can be anything from verbal and physical to emotional and psychological. Another term, Nessus Astrology, comes into the picture when an individual talks about Nessus. Keep reading to understand the various concepts related to Nessus Astrology and its significance in the life of an individual. An overview of Nessus and his story. Before knowing about Nessus Astrology and how it can impact a person's life, it is vital to understand who was Nessus and what led to his assassination by Hercules. Nessus was an evil man who was guilty of raping Deianira, the lover of Hercules. His desire to have Deianira was so terrible that he was not able to control his senses. He manipulated her when he was attacked by Hercules. He said to her to put his bloody clothes on Hercules so that he could love Deianira eternally. However, when she placed the clothes on Hercules, it led to his death. It shows that Nessus in your natal chart Cygni is endless desire. It indicates the obsession to have everything at any cost. Nessus would not give his desires to anyone else even if he cannot have Deianira. Nessus is something that an individual likes beyond his control and willing to achieve. So, if you ND Nessus in your birth chart, then you can conclude that it is one of the weakest points. The implication of Nessus Astrology. Nessus conveys the personal experience of violent traumas and the combined efforts to counter such shocks. These violent traumas include abuse, suicide, rape, and other violent acts. Nessus further represents the transfer of these horrific traumas into the familial unconscious. This thing slowly hinders the potential to become self-actualized. The presence of Nessus in the birth chart shows some toughest realities to face. It involves everything that no family or social group wants to bring in front of others. Nessus can represent the distress of remaining faithful, silent, or unaware of ancestral traumas. The themes of Nessus are based on mythology that includes uncontrollable lust, violence, trust thwarted, and saving a life. It further involves taking revenge, taking the life of others, victims, predators, deceit, and temptations. All these themes constitute the Nessus Astrology. Nessus Astrology Calculator, getting started. Nessus Astrology Calculator or Nessus in the natal chart is a way to calculate how abuse works and an individual's response to it. For this purpose, it is essential to understand the working of abuse. Abuse depends on how the person responds to it. When a person experiences abuse, there are generally 3 ways to respond to it. They change the manner in which they treat others. They begin to treat others in a similar way in which the abuser dealt with them. They get engaged with persons who treat them in the manner their abuser did. They start to like the company of such persons and slowly get involved in abusive activities. They even begin to start treating themselves in the way their abuser treated them. It means that they start thinking negatively for themselves and get into the mentality to take part in violent actions. If you come across a person with prominent Nessus, then you will be able to notice 2 things. Abuse has become a problem in their life. They have responded to the abuse in the above-mentioned 3 ways. So, is it possible to calculate the Nessus using this method? The answer is not a proper yes but can give an idea about Nessus. If an individual picks any option from 1, 2, or 3, then you can probably calculate the Nessus. Suppose, persons with strong Mars energy tend to GHT against all the negatives of the environment. If you can predict from the chart that their natural response is to GHT, then it can be said that the probability of picking option 1 will be larger. They will choose it as their response to the abuse. However, there are complete chances that they can go for any other option. So, you cannot know for sure and can see the trends only. You can also go for the online Nessus Astrology calculator. Many sites claim that they can provide a precise calculation related to asteroids and Nessus. You have to just type your details on such websites, including the date of birth, time, city, and more. By providing all this information, you can get to know about the Nessus Astrology. You can make use of this online facility to calculate Nessus and grab the data related to Nessus Astrology. It is also possible to calculate it using asteroids. You can use 2 degrees for asteroids and 14 degrees for your Sun. Nessus creates an aspect that is situated between 12 degrees to 16 degrees. Thus, it is possible to calculate Nessus Astrology through these 3 methods. Nessus Asteroid, what you should know. Nessus Asteroid has a number 7066. Discovered in April 1993, this centaur is situated beyond Saturn in the outer solar system. This asteroid is named after Nessus, a centaur from Greek mythology. The orbit connects to Saturn and Pluto. Nessus is an asteroid of pure abuse. It is possible to look for Nessus in the birth chart called the natal chart. You can also look for it in the relationship chart known as the synastry chart. If the Nessus is prominent in the birth chart, it can be said that the person will deal with this dark energy in life. Nessus asteroid orbits the Sun once in 122 years and 4 months. The orbits are not stable. This minor planet has a dark reddish color and is elongated with a diameter of 60 kilometers or 37 miles. It is computed to have a fairly extended orbital half-life of approximately 4.9 million years. Moreover, astronomers have found that Nessus won't get in close proximity to any planet for the next 20,000 years. Nessus in Gemini. Reading Nessus in the houses and signs can provide an individual with different implications. There are 12 houses of Nessus divided according to the sun signs, such as the RST house belongs to Aries, the second house to Taurus, and so on. Similarly, the 4th house is used for Gemini, and information is extracted by reading it in the natal charts. The 3rd house of Nessus, Gemini, is a kind of verbal Nessus that makes use of his communication skills to manipulate different things. A simple example of this Nessus can be a compulsive and unreasonable journalist who has an uncontrolled tongue or pen. Such persons manipulate their siblings by using gossiping tactics to turn things in their way. If such an individual gets positively controlled by Chiron and Saturn, this Nessus can help to bring great changes in society. All this is done through a passion for writing and verbal abilities. Someone under this Nessus is completely passionate about their communication skills. When it comes to love life, this Nessus wins the arguments being a creative manipulator. Such a person doesn't believe in GHTING and negotiates smartly to attain his partner's trust. Further, there are chances of abuse and bad experiences with siblings. In this, that strong part of the 3rd house, i.e., communication, is used as a form of abuse and sex. A positive part of this Nessus is that those persons who are not able to speak for themselves are victims in this 3rd type. They are a mode to those who can't speak for their rights or remain afraid to speak up. Persons of the 3rd type of Nessus prefer to write about those who have suffered abusive behavior or sexual situations and try to help them. They stand for themselves through their verbal and written words. Nessus conjunct Pluto. Nessus is a unique term that may be unheard of for many of the years. The terminology Nessus symbolizes abuse, manipulation, and excessive lust. Albeit it's a fact that cannot be denied that Nessus is associated with these qualities, similar as the fact that Nessus is much more than this. It will be unreasonable to relate Nessus solely with these qualities. It is said that if Nessus conjuncts your natal planet, angle, or node, the person turns abusive. When it's about abuse, it can be either physical or mental, or emotional abuse. Abuse is pure infliction of pain. The planets indicate the real picture of nature and the intensity of the abuse. Nessus is a centaur of Pluto. This fact makes Nessus associate with certain qualities like darkness, manipulation, obsession, possessiveness, and excessive lust. Along with this, Nessus is also known to be an uncontrolled unevolved Pluto. The behavior of Nessus differs depending upon the natal aspects which hits it. For instance, if the Nessus has hard aspects, then he will show the dark side, and if struck by good aspects, then he will turn out to be a problem solver. The good aspects can be attributed to the aspects of planets like Saturn, Jupiter, and Chiron. Wrapping up. Nessus is present in every person's birth chart or natal chart. But it is more relevant and persistent when it is in the intersection with the Sun as the ascendant or the descendant. If the conjunction is with Mars or Pluto, then it can be said that a person is sexually abusive. If it focuses on Saturn, it can depict abuse of power or an overwhelming desire to overlook others through power games. The 12 houses of Nessus signify different aspects of desires and abuse a person can face in his life. Every house not only has a negative side but also has a few positives. It is even possible for an individual to calculate the Nessus by using any of the 3 options. However, Nessus astrology is not fully accurate and doesn't show the facts about a person's life. There are huge chances that it may be different as it works on trends and shows merely the Nessus according to the house and signs.